Well, Fauci's got something to say about the court striking down the you-know-what mandate on airplanes, right? It's okay not to wear them now, and Fauci's upset about it. I'm reading an article here in reason.com, and I'll put the link in the description down below. The title is, Fauci says CDC mandates should not be a court issue. Whatever, Fauci. Anthony Fauci is, quote, surprised and disappointed, end quote, with this week's federal court ruling that overturned the mask mandate on planes, trains, and other public transportation, which I am freaking ecstatic about, to be honest. That's not because the president's chief medical advisor disagrees with the substance of Judge Catherine Kimball Mizelle's ruling. No, Fauci thinks the problem is that the courts have any power over public health edicts at all. That's freaking scary. Really big time scary. Those types of things, and I'm quoting, those types of things really are the purview of the Centers for Disease Control. This is a public health issue, end quote. Fauci told CNN's Cassie Hunt on Thursday. We are concerned about that, about courts getting involved in things that are unequivocally public health decisions. I mean, this is a CDC issue. It should not be a court issue. He actually seems kind of mad about it. Well, let me just tell you something, Fauci. You are a public servant to the United States. That's the job you signed up for, right? And your job is to serve the public. It's not to personally put yourself in some super powerful position, or your group, your division of government in some super powerful position that usurps its power over other people. That's not how it works. That's not how our country was founded. You may be unhappy with losing your power, the power you've had over the last 2 years, and make no mistake about it, it's been an immense and incredible power. And you've used it in the most craziest way I can imagine. And we haven't seen the evidence of the benefit of using that, of doing those things. Shutting down our economy, making our children wear you-know-what, making people wear you-know-what, working in tandem with Mr. Biden and the Biden administration to do all sorts of craziness. We'll never know how bad you hurt our world, how bad you hurt our country. We'll never know. I'm going to go on here. Considering how much of his life he has spent working within or alongside the federal government, Fauci's belief that the CDC ought to exist outside of the constitutional limitations. Let me stop right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. See, we are governed by a constitution. We're not governed by some little guy working for the CDC, NIH, telling us what he thinks. It doesn't matter what you think, Fauci. On some sense, it doesn't, this is all, it's not even an argument. We have rules, we have laws, our government's set up in a certain way, and it doesn't matter if a person like yourself comes along, and make no mistake about it, everyone has an opinion about how the government should be ran, but it's not like that. You don't just get to do what you want to do. Let me continue here. So Fauci's belief that the CDC ought to exist outside of the constitutional limitations applied to government actions is stunning. It is stunning. This is either a complete misunderstanding of the American system, basic functions, or an expression of disdain toward the rule of law. Fauci says the CDC had a perfectly logical plan to review the mask mandate in early May, as it intended to do prior to this week's ruling. Yeah, of course, Fauci, it's been 2 freaking years, 2+ years. We're not waiting for you anymore. Clearly, we're not waiting for you. We have lives to live. We have jobs to do. We have things to do in this world. We don't wait on your word to give us the green light. We don't need that from you. Thank you very much. For a court to come in and interfere in that is really unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it's against public health principles. According to you, a lot of things are against public health principles, and people are getting on just fine. Just fine, Fauci. He told Hunt, adding that that's no place for the courts to do that. This is a CDC decision. Dude, here's the thing. Even if a mandate is a good idea, that doesn't mean it falls within the legal authority of the agency that imposed it. That's exactly why a co-equal branch of government is tasked with determining whether the actions of the other 2 branches are legal. That is an awesome point. We have 3 branches of government in our country. Equal but separate, separate but equal. That's why it's more difficult to hijack our political system, Not impossible, as we've seen the last 2 years. Just saying. It's more difficult to do that than it is if you have a dictatorship or some of these other types of governments that I'm not really privy to in the world, right? That's what happens. It's harder. Our founding fathers were not stupid, right? They saw what went down. They did the best they could and made the best system that they could, base it on God, base it on 3 equal separate branches of government, and that way the citizens have all the power because government's fighting amongst itself. And it's harder. See, let me just go off on a tangent here. When power is distributed equally over the smallest common denominator, it's very hard to abuse that power. Remember, the biggest abuses of power are when it's concentrated, right? 3 branches of government, and also then the people send representatives back to Washington to represent us. That's what a republic is, right? We send them back there because we have work to do. We have lives to live. If those representatives don't do the work of the people and the will of the people, they need to go away. We need to vote them out. We have elections coming up this year. What are you going to do? What kind of message are you going to send Washington, D.C. about how you were treated in the last 2 years? How you like in inflation? How you like in higher gas prices? How do you like being kind of working toward potential World War III? And I hate to even say that word, right? Foreign policy of this administration is not great. It's sketchy. It's scary. I don't know about you, but I don't sleep with warm fuzzies at night. Everyone kept saying in the last prior administration, oh, you're going to get us in war. They're going to get us in war. They're going to get us in war. That never happened. What are we in now? We're kind of on the brink, right? Every day it's not good news. Let me go on here. The sentiment extends far beyond Fauci. As I wrote in a February feature for Reason, quote, in state after state, public health officials have lined up to defend arbitrary and aggressive pandemic rulemaking against the constraints of a democratic process. In doing so, they've defended both Democratic and Republican administrations, showing a bias toward unilateral power rather than any particular party. End quote. That's scary. It's not just public health officials who have held this view. Public health decisions shouldn't be made by the courts. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters this week they should be made by public health experts. Legal commentators such as Slate's Mark Joseph Stern have similarly collapsed the distinction between what may be sensible and what may be legal. If the CDC or state public health agencies require the legal authority to mandate masks and other pandemic-related behaviors, they should ask Congress and state lawmakers to explicitly grant those power via legislation. It's been 2 years. There's been plenty of time for that to happen. There has been plenty of time for that to happen. Here's the thing about power. And here's the thing why you never want to give away your power without asking a whole boatload of questions. Ever, ever, ever. Because once you give it away, they don't want to give it back. That's the biggest danger the last 2 years. Oh my gosh, there's a killer thing on the loose. You need to give us all of your freedom temporarily so we can help you. Bad idea. Really bad idea, because then you got to fight tooth and nail to get it back. Which is what's happening. Look, they don't want to give back the power. We're done. It's clear they've even said we're kind of done. The World Health Organization, to my knowledge, just said, yeah, we're going to treat this like the flu moving forward. So, what gives? They don't want to give up the power. That's what gives. But there was never a serious attempt to do such a thing. The CDC merely claimed powers it never had, and then its defenders whined about the inevitable backlash against that overreach. The same process played out with the CDC's unlawful order banning evictions, and the Biden administration's ill-fated attempt to have the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, impose a vaccine mandate on private businesses. And the outcome is the same. Yes, it is the same. There's a lot of unconstitutional things going on. And a lot of American citizens knew that. You probably knew that. I definitely felt that way. Also, let's be clear about the effectiveness of the mask mandate in the first place. I've observed widespread noncompliance in public transit in Washington, D.C., a city where it is not uncommon to see people masked while walking alone outdoors on a sunny day in April 22nd, April 2022. I see that all the time too, and while it perplexes me, I wish them all the best. Go for it. I won't do it, but you go for it. And as anyone who has recently taken a flight can tell you, masking was hardly universal on commercial flights even before the mandate was struck down this week. Yeah, see, people are going to do what they're going to do. If you leave people alone, they're going to naturally figure stuff out. We don't need to be told what to think and what to do by any government agency. In fact, that's dangerous. Give us the data and don't withhold it for 75 years and let us make up our own minds. That's what free people do, right? Sketchy. Let me close with this last paragraph. Not getting your way in court is not grounds for discarding the very concept of the rule of law. Amen to that. Neither, for that matter, is a once-in-a-generation pandemic. Yeah, that's a great article. So that's an article on Reason.com. Let me know what you think down below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe for more videos like this talking about news and hot topics that are relevant to all of us. Also, all the other streams of content on my channel designed to help you create the life and the experiences that you want to have. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe. Until next time, all the best, health, wealth, and success. Bye-bye.